Good day, everybody. Welcome. Sorry, I was just reading something funny as we came on. So I hope everybody is well out there. I hope that you're having a good day. Today is another hump day. And we like to hump. We like to hump. Why? Because it's a reminder that we're almost through, right? We're almost pushing. So all we got to do is make it till Thursday, make it till Friday, and you come into the weekend, and suddenly your mind is at ease and you're living peacefully. But once again, I'm Omar Davis. Welcome to Holy Men and Mastermind Connect. Today we have an episode that is going to be pretty powerful. I'm not even going to get into it yet because I know that people are still coming in and I want them to really hear what it is this episode is about. Now, as everyone is coming in, let's just recap, right? We have been talking about some real amazing things. Some stuff that really triggers us. You know, whenever I first heard about a lot of these things that we talk about, it kind of triggered me in a way because whenever it comes to me being an alpha, right, I thought I was an alpha male. I'm bad. I'm awesome. I'm the big bad person, whatever, all that good stuff, right? But when I learned that the alpha male is not a real thing, and the alpha female is not a real thing. Let's go back to episode 1 where we watched the video on David L. Mack talking about how what he wrote is inconclusive because the wolves they studied, for one, were in captivity and not in the wild. And then what they realized over time that was not the alpha male, that was actually their dad. So how fucked up does that have us right now? Well, you're running around looking for the alpha male when this person doesn't even really exist, or you're trying to be the alpha male when this person really doesn't exist. And how much drama has it caused in our community? How much tension, death, murder, fights, violence? How much has it caused in our communities because we live on these platforms that don't really exist? And even with survival of the fittest, we talked about that and how nature cooperates more than competes. Yes, you may have the king lion who sits on the top and he's a great mate. But guess what? There are 50 female lionesses and they will murder his ass. Can you sit with that for a second? So the alpha idea, the survival of the fittest, nature cooperates. We're a part of it. So we moved on from there to really talk about the concepts of what it comes down to as why you're worthy. I had to look at my notes because I kind of forgot for a second. But why you're worthy. We talked about why you're worthy. We had some brothers come on that were in the audience. They came onto the show and we talked about that concept of worthiness. And it was amazing because what we really went into was talking about the concepts of your atoms. Bringing it back, full spectrum. If you didn't see last week, go back and look at it. It's amazing. But if not, check it. Just a little cliff note. If your atoms in your body that make up your entire DNA, and the DNA is in the cell of the nucleus, what makes the cell, then the cell is divided into you and it makes up a whole person. If the atom is balanced and perfect, how are you wrong and how are you a sinner? Can we think about it? Maybe we're not. Maybe the idea and the concept simply makes us that thing if we believe it, right? So let's not do that. Now, moving into this week, we want to understand how we can heal. Now, once again, this platform is really bringing up some ideas that we don't talk about in our norms, but alchemy is going to be the foundation of this particular talk. Understanding how to heal. First, you must understand that you are not broken, but that's another thing. Secondly, you have to understand some of the laws. You have to understand some of the realities of the situation, which is you're a fucking chemical machine. You make chemicals all goddamn day. Guess what? You a chemical making ass motherfucker. And the only reason I say it, because I want it to really be light and I want it to really be clear that, yes, this is really deep stuff. But it doesn't have to be so deep that we look at it like, man, that's deep. We can laugh about it. We can joke about it. Osham, thank you for joining. For all of you in the chats or in the YouTube or Facebook, thank you for being here. we are really needing you to be here. Why? Because with you, it makes this thing possible. Because as we stated last episode, we're going to be bringing people on. We're going to be having people join us from the crowd. Why? Because it's about community. We want to build more community. We want to have the conversations with people who have questions, not just the people who have answers, right? The experts. We always got the experts, and it's like, let's listen to the experts. But what about the questions that normal people or people that don't know have, right? Last week we had Darnell on, and he was like, this whole time I was worthy. Like, and for him to say that and for me to receive it, even I had that moment where I had to go back and be like, you are worthy. And everybody loves you. Like, look at all these people that love you. You don't got nothing. At the time, I didn't have nothing. And so they love me for everything that I was and everything that I am. Courtney, Pishkin. Good day, brothers. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining us, I shall say. But now let's get into this concept of healing, right? The reason I say transmute means to take something, change it, and then make it something new. That's it. It's very simple, right? Now, whenever we think about chemical exchange, whenever we think about molecules and hormones, they are consistently in the act of transmutation. They are either growing atoms or they're releasing atoms. Now, that is the exchange of alchemy. And if you didn't know, alchemy, Allah Chem, God in chemistry. You are made only from chemistry. Everything in your entire human being is chemistry. And the chemistry makes up the physical, makes up the being, makes up the whole. But truly, you're a bunch of little tiny particles that are just putting themselves together in very intelligent ways to give you perception that you have life. How smart is that shit, right? It's genius. Now, moving on to it, I like to say that we are all the alchemists. Why are we all the alchemists? Well, going back to the chemicals, let's just go about the anatomy. Let me just help you understand, for those of you who do not know much about the anatomy, I just want to let you know that because you have a hypothalamus in the middle of your brain, and I'm just looking at some notes if you guys see me looking off, your brain is literally producing through the hypothalamus shitloads, like 191 different types of amino acids that build hormones as they collect like a puzzle and just like make all these like giant hormone strands. And then suddenly you have a feeling that you're sad or happy or at peace. It's all coming literally from the hypothalamus that then relates information to the pituitary gland. Now, the pituitary gland, it creates a process that hormones can actually be understood and absorbed in your body. So whenever I talk about the pituitary gland, it means more of like it's taking the things from the hypothalamus, it's sending it into the pituitary. And again, this is all in the very center of your brain. And then from there, it's creating things like dopamine, serotonin, melatonin, all these wonderful chemicals, oxytocin, so that you have experience. So you are the alchemist because you're making chemicals in your mind right now, even by watching me, literally. I mean, like actually, literally. And so with that said, it's really important for us to really understand that we're not actually broken. Let's go back to this healing concept, right? We want to be healed. We want to learn how to let go and forgive and learn how to like not have all this anger or this sadness or this trauma, right? It's a beast, right? Because your body having this chemical, which is a feeling and an emotion, it gives you a sensation that you are in it. So you're in the sensation, you're in pain, you're in trauma, you're in hurt, you're in something, right? But really, truthfully, you're creating something. I know that's going to be a second. Let me just give y'all a second to understand that. When I say you're creating something, your experience and the way you believe that experience will be your perception. And that is going to be the thing that your mind creates. Now, let's break it down. I got some topics here. So breaking it down, first, we have to talk about perception. Why perception? Going back to what I just said. The way you think and the way you feel is your perception. So what is perception? And how do you change your perception? First, you must understand that if I change my perception, then I must literally think differently. I must not even see myself as a victim. I must not even see myself as someone who's hurt. I must not see myself as someone who is stuck in trauma. I hope this makes sense because we're going somewhere with this. But I know that we got some people who are in the chat. Now, once again, we're just going to, he said he getting an oracle reading right now. That's hilarious, Ocean. For all of you that are out there, I just wanted to also give you more information about what we're doing today. If you are in the crowd, if you are in the chats, if you are viewing us live streaming, and you would like to come on and be a part of this whole situation, which is us talking about some deep shit, but not so deep shit, just normal human stuff, then by all means, we'll have you come on. Just let us know in the chat right here. I want to come on. We'll have our man Manny in the background, who's always killing it. He's going to have you come into the other part so we can bring you into the live broadcast. So let us know so we can make sure that happens. With that said, I want to just actually tackle one thing before we actually move into bringing people on. But this, I'm sorry, guys, this next part is actually going to be, especially for men, it's going to be real. So going back to the perception, right? Whenever it comes to perception, we have a thought. And let's practice this, or let's just jargon this real quick. Whenever we are thinking of people who pissed us off, right? What happens? You literally have a fucking conversation in an imagination with this person and what they did to you and how they fucked you over and how they messed you up, right? You have this whole conversation in your head, but because it makes you upset, what then happens? Your heart starts beating a little fast. Your hands get a little sweaty. What else happens? Your eyes go like this. What else happens? We've all been there. You do this. You're like washing dishes and shit, having a conversation with somebody who's not there and doing all this shit and mad. You scrubbing the fuck out of dishes because you mad as shit because you're thinking about this conversation. Now, based on the thought, we have to go back to the fact that the brain does not know the difference between reality and imagination. Period. Now, I'm just going to have to pause because I noticed this dude is cutting grass at nighttime. Who does that? He messing up my show. But anyways, whenever it comes down to it, the way that you actually think and the things that you focus on, it's going to have a chemical reaction that's going to give you a feeling and or sensation. Now, feelings are very important and we need to understand them. Why? Because they are what run you. How many times have you done some shit because you felt like you shouldn't do it? No, a lot of times we do things because we feel it's right for us. And the time that we do something that we feel is not right for us, that has consequences. Mental consequences. Why? Because those chemicals that are running around in your body are sending information to your brain to keep reminding you that, you know what, you did that one shit that you shouldn't have done. You was mad the whole time you did it. So with that said, I'm going to check in with my folks real quick. I'm going to go ahead and bring in our man Jordan. Jordan has this young man. I actually know Jordan. He's been an inspiration because in the background he's been literally doing everything he can to really show that he wants to heal, and he's been doing all the steps. He's been going to meditation classes. He's been going everywhere. He's been going to yoga. He's been doing all types of things. Now, I'm sorry. Jordan's not here yet. He hasn't been able to log in. forgive me. Once he comes on, we will actually bring him on. But from here, if anybody wants to come on to tackle some of these things that we're talking about, first perception and then feelings. Now, I'm going to actually ask a question so that we can understand what this idea of transmutation and how to heal is. And if you guys want to come on and answer this question, by all means, please do. But the question is, how is it that you can let go of whatever happened to you so that you can be your best self? Like, I just want to know, what do you feel and what do you think will be your best way? And everybody's going to have a different way. Everybody's going to have a different method, a different type, a different thing, because we're all different. And so I'm just curious to know, like, what would you guys do? You know? And if you do have any questions, yes. Oh, Joya said forgiveness. Oh, right? Forgiveness. That's a real one. Forgiveness is the key, actually. We haven't gotten to that point, but it literally is the key. Because what it comes down to is, if you can't understand how you feel by questioning the things that you're thinking and the things that you are constantly rummaging in your head, then your ego is just slamming you all around. It's like Hulk did that in that one Avengers where he did with Loki. He was like, bow, bow, bow. That's what your ego is doing to you, literally. And so if you're not able to tune into what it is that you feel and what it is that you're thinking, then I'm sorry, you will never, ever be able to heal and transmute. It is that vital. It is self-accountability. It is self-responsibility. No one can make you do it. That good saying that you can show the horse the water, but you can't make him drink, it's true. I can bring you right up to the shit, and you make a complaint about why the water's disgusting. So it really comes down to your perception and the way you feel. Now, I wish it were that simple, right? Because we got some deep trauma. And it took me about 5 years to really push through my trauma and actually heal myself, because I needed to comprehend things before I can actually heal myself, because my mind was stuck. My mind was literally in a place where I felt that I was the trauma, I was the victim, I was in the experience, I was living this right now. And so I actually was not really all that thrilled when it came to doing alchemy, or whenever I learned about alchemy. I kind of had it fall into my lap, so to say, as the universe does, right? But I kind of had it come to me in a way that I went full speed ahead, and it really messed me up because I wasn't ready. And I backed up immediately. The moment I said I saw self-accountability, self-responsibility, motherfucker was moonwalking out the scene like that. I was ready to go. I couldn't do it. I was like, oh, hell no. And so I know it's going to be a challenge for any of us that's dealing with our own psychosis, because the ego, the devil, the most cunning, conniving motherfucker you know, is up in here, which is crazy. Now, let's get to these comments, because I saw some really good things come in. Well, I want to once again highlight Joya Boone's, Boone's forgiveness. That is huge. It is huge, and it's actually going to be the basis of what we do in this practice. Now, Cynthia came on, says, realizing that the pain they caused you is something they haven't healed from. Oof. Forgive them and pray for the healing of their spirit. Wow. Now, that is coming from a true sage and someone who has possibly reached a level of acceptance for their own true inner power to even state something like that. Buddha says, replay the scenario in your head and turn out with a positive outcome. Sorry. Remember, the brain doesn't know the difference. That will mark for, oh man, hold on. I'm gonna finish reading this, but I want to get back to that. That will make forgiveness easier. Okay, so he just commented on the fact that I said the brain doesn't know the difference between reality and imagination. And a lot of times we have simple thoughts that are solely in fear and solely in like defense with these people in our head. But what he's saying is let's have a positive conversation with him in our head. Let's have a positive thought. And he's right on point, because that's literally where we're going with this. You have to change the way you fucking think about it. I had to change the way I fucking thought about it. I had to see my dad as not the enemy, as not someone who hurt me, but I had to see my dad as a 3-year-old little boy who was innocent. And he just so happened to grow up in a bunch of motherfucking trauma. And when I saw my dad's life, I was like, damn, son, your life sucks. Your parents, your dad was a fucking asshole. And honestly, he couldn't have shown me shit. Word up. And so being able to put my mind in the perspective of my dad being a child, it allowed me to back up and realize that a lot of his mistakes, a lot of his issues, it was all built in pain and being scared, because his dad was a monster. His dad was an abusive man. I didn't know that. So I had my own issues with the way I saw that. Now, how do you manage the ego? Ooh, good question, Ocean. And then Joya then simply commented, you are what you think. And I'm going to go ahead and get to this concept of managing the ego, right? So the ego is actually supposed to be, managed is a good word, but I think I would actually go with put in its place. Like, you got to put the ego in its place. You got to say to your ego, shut the fuck up. Like, I spent from the age of 31 till about 34 telling my ego every time it said something that was dumb as fuck or trying to defend some stupid ass reason, I say, shut the fuck up, ego. I was literally, sometimes I say that shit out loud. Motherfuckers be like, yo, who you talking to? Did you hear me say ego? Goddamn it, I'm talking to my ego. And no lie, that right there was a pinnacle for me, because it allowed me to know the difference between ego chatter and what I truly was feeling. And like, why am I going to focus on some shit that's going to make me upset? Like, what's the point in that? Why don't I just find out a way to like address the situation with the person that I'm upset about and have an open conversation about what I feel? Like, why not do that shit? But with that said, there's some really good, there's some really good stuff coming in. And forgive me if I seem to be cursing a lot. The reason is because it's Aries energy and it's fire. And that's exactly what I've been feeling. A lot of fire. But with that said, let's get to some of the more of these comments. Once a man, twice a child. Yes, as Courtney stated. Peshkian says, how do you transmute the victim mentality to a victor mentality? Ooh, great question. You have to practice thinking differently. You literally have to practice. You have to put into consistency effort that you think differently. Now, letting go of what you had and what you thought you knew, it's like Neo in the Matrix. He thought that that shit was real. Neo thought that he was in this system and he did not want to let it go. But whenever he made a choice, a firm decision to say, I'm going to take that pill. You got to take the pill, and you got to allow the pill to work its magic. The magic of the pill through the choice is going to shift you over here. But now you have to put in the work of being consistent with your choice. You can't make these I'm still in the matrix situations. You have to make these I am the one situations. You can't make these I believe that I'm physical and I'm subjected to the matrix reality and construct. You have to be in, I'm actually going to bend this to my reality. I'm actually going to make this what I desire, right? And so that's how. But it does take consistency, and it takes a firm mind. You have to be really firm. I say it like this. Be super stern and aggressive with your ego, but compassionate enough to understand that the little boy or the little girl inside of you is still hurting, as my child screams in the background. Now, there's a lot of really good comments coming in. I don't even know if I can get to them and try to finish what I'm talking about right now, but let me just try to go work through them. So true. People are stuck at their age. Ooh, that the worst trauma occurred. I'm going to read that again. People are stuck at their age their worst trauma occurred. So think about if someone was 3 or 5, etc. They are operating from the age every time they get upset, scared, or confused. Lisa, you didn't spoke true. We got a lot of sages up in this room. What's going on? Y'all need to come on. What's happening? But seriously, that right there is the same. I had to realize, going back to my father, that he was stuck in trauma. He was stuck in the past. He was still reacting like the little boy, but still in this man's body. So he didn't know. He just didn't know. Rachel says, a certain someone told me about you and to listen to you. Thank you, Rachel. And whoever that someone is, bless. I appreciate it. Courtney says, our ego as one job and one tool job. Protect us. Tool, our emotions. So yeah, he's saying the job is to protect us. And he's right. Sympathetic nervous system. That's exactly what it is. Fight or flight. I'm in danger. Get out of danger. That can be an email, y'all. You can receive an email and that shit reflected some trauma that came from your older brother that told you you weren't shit for so long. And literally you react to the email from the child's age and the part of defense. So that's beautiful right there, Courtney. Thank you for that. Cynthia then says, what I have done in my healing journey is meditate and raise your vibration. Victim equals lower vibration. Survivor equals higher vibration. Yes, absolutely right. And what that really comes down to is, if you notice, she said that she was once in the mind of the victim, right? She was over here. But then she became in the mind of the survivor. She had to change her mind. So that's what this whole thing is about. The only way that you can truly transmute your energy, which is the emotion that you feel, is through changing your mind. Now, before I get into the other aspects of this conversation, I wanted to just lay some foundation of what that really looks like. So, going back to the brain, if your brain does not know the difference between reality and imagination, then it's important for us to understand that the things we think will influence our chemistry. Chemistry is literally emotion. So emotion times electricity, which is thoughts. You put electricity and emotion, chemicals together, it creates feelings. And these feelings come from your heart. And let me just help you understand this. So you have a thought. It creates chemicals. Those chemicals are now running into your system and being flooded into your bloodstream. Where does your blood go? Right to the heart. The heart, as we talked about in the last episode, in the last season, it actually has a magnetic field around it, and it's pumping all your blood. So now the heart is taking the information of your brain of I feel this way, and then it's like pumping it through your entire system. It's going to your toes. It's going in between your calf muscles. It's going to your actual bone. It's literally going through the kneecap up to the hip, and it's going through your hip up this way, and it's flowing everywhere. And then from that feeling, or from that chemical, your heart is also putting the feeling into the magnetic field. Now let's just break that down. Who in here, which I know most of all of y'all, have ever been like, yo, the vibe in that place is crazy, I ain't going in there. Or the vibe in that place is live, I'm going there. And you feel it. Keyword, you feel it. Because your thoughts have now agreed with your emotions that I like this. So you feel it. Now, whenever your thoughts do not agree with your emotions, you don't like it. Now, we had a comment come in. It's the heart brain. My baby, biggie voice. Yeah, for sure. It is the heart brain. The heart brain is gathering the information from the chemicals and from the electricity that came from your mind, and it's determining what's safe. So if you don't feel safe, it's within you. It's never going to be an external thing. And I know that's really hard to comprehend, because you say, like, if someone's holding a gun to your face, what are you going to do? Well, I just tell you, I've had plenty of guns held to my face. And there have been times in my life where I'd actually walk towards the gun and be like, oh, you going to shoot me there, son? Shoot me right now. Shoot me hard. Put it right here. Because at that moment, I wasn't going to ever give in to the fact that I'm afraid, for one. And secondly, I know who I am, and I know that the universe actually will jam the gun before it lets it go off, because it's happened pretty much every time, to be honest. Like, we magical, son. But with that said, let's move on to understanding how to move through this. And we don't have much time left today because we're going to keep this one short. But letting go is your first step. For instance, going back to the question up top, where he asked, how do you transmute the victim mentality to a victor mentality? You have to let go. And through letting go, that actually means that you have to forgive. That's what it is. You have to forgive. You have to let go, and you have to forgive. It's really, really challenging. It's literally the most challenging thing that you can possibly do, because letting go means that you feel like you fall. And we all know falling kind of seems scary. So what is happening? So letting go is the thing that you must do. And when you let go, the mind literally changes the chemicals that are being pushed out. So when you let go of the things that you feel and the things that you are, it literally changes the chemistry within your brain, which changes the chemistry within your body. Now, let me just tell you how wonderful the universe is, right? In the next room, I don't know if you can hear it, but my family started playing Biggie. They can't hear our conversation. That's amazing. Because energetically, I felt what he said, and I literally felt a bubble go out of my body and expand to my walls. That is the heart field. You can do that, by the way. Now, going to the comment that he said, how do you transmute? The next phase of that is you have to conjure anew by strict focus. And conjuring means to precipitate, to make manifest, to make happen, right? So you have to focus so intently on your firm decision to not be the victim anymore. Conjuring means that you never act in the way that you did before. And whenever you're in that moment where you may act that way, you say no, you stand firm, and you move forward with the firm decision that you made to not be the victim. And you respond differently from the victim. And this is going to program neurological pathways in your brain to say, this is how we now act. And then if you do that consistently, your brain will be like, this is now who we are. And then as soon as you have another situation come like that up, you will automatically respond in the way that you are supposed to, because you have programmed your brain to do that. But we have been programmed to be victims. FYI. Sucks. Man, so many comments. Okay, Lisa. That's a long comment. I try to tell people that you need to come on, Lisa. You got all these comments. We can just talk it out. Emotional intelligence, managing the processing feelings, and why we behave and how we can behave in a healthy and safe way to have a healthy life with healthy relationships. Fantastic. Facts. Because it would stop a lot of hurt feelings. If only we could recognize we all operate from our best or worst memory, depending on our upbringing. Wow, each line is getting me. Like, what is happening? And she says, I'm lucky that she teaches this almost daily to students age 11 and 14. Well, Lisa, I'm lucky that you exist. Well, not lucky. I am grateful and I am blessed that you exist, because someone like you will help us to shift and move towards the things that we're literally trying to move towards in this new human society. We are different. We are not the same. Henry Walker says, making the choice to be in or avoid certain spaces and or people has helped me stay focused on my healing journey. Facts. I've learned to trust my feelings more. And as a man of color, my brother, I was literally just having a conversation with one of my brothers about how we as Black men die of heart attacks. That's happening. We die of heart attacks because we have too much stress and we have too much anger. It's like we as Black men are the number one cases for heart attack and heart failure. Like, can we get a break? Damn, son. But I'm with you, Henry. I really appreciate that. And that shit hits my heart, man. Oh man. Okay. I know there's some great comments in here. Rachel said, train the subconscious mind. And that's literally where we're going. Because when you thank you, Rachel. But whenever you train the subconscious mind, whenever you make a focus, right? You focus your intentions. You're saying, I'm going to do this. You're training your subconscious mind to reprogram your everything. Your subconscious mind is telling your conscious mind what to think. Now, let me just break that down. Your conscious mind is here and it's all around you. But your subconscious mind is in your heart. It's in the subconscious brain, the heart brain, the inner child, the gateway to heaven, the voice of all. Now, your unconscious mind is connected to every single atom that ever existed right now. Within you and around you, it's connected to the wall that makes up your wall because it's made from atoms. So your unconscious mind is knowing everything. It actually knows how your fingernail grows and the time that it's going to be the longest. It knows all kind of cool stuff. Now, let's move on to faith. Faith is a big one. Why? Because with faith, you trust. And with trust, you conjure even faster. You change the subconscious mind because the subconscious mind knows what's true. The subconscious mind knows that it's many. The subconscious mind knows that it's connected to the sun. The subconscious mind knows that it's connected to Source God. The subconscious mind knows that it's connected to every single brother and sister on this planet and all planets. The subconscious mind is not confused, but the subconscious mind is going to direct information into you because your consciousness can only accept certain things because you've made your mind up about that thing. It's a great system. It's designed for you to have what we like to call the human experience or any type of life, no matter what planet you're on. And I never really talked about planets before, but that's going to be another conversation. So with that said, before we end, I want to end on this last thing. Faith needs to be followed by action and consistency. You have to firmly believe with faith and then walk that walk. There's a really great quote that I heard from my brother Theo from the Mastermind Connect, who you saw on last time. He said, whenever you read a story of the Buddhist monk who became enlightened, before he became enlightened, he had a phrase that said, chop wood, carry water. He became enlightened. After that, what did he do? He continued to chop wood, carry water. Why? Because consistency of your actions. We live in a world that is going to challenge our actions. It's going to challenge who we are. You may be enlightened. Like, for instance, 31-year-old Omar would be in a conversation and completely try to take it over because I felt that I needed to prove myself in some way. But 39-year-old Omar, I'm going to sit back and listen and just take it in and just enjoy my company. For one, I don't have to prove shit. And for two, I took consistent action to recognize myself, my feelings, my thoughts, the way I projected those thoughts onto people. And then I reflected back inward and said, this is good for me if I do this. And that this was me needing to understand myself more. And by doing that, I had to surrender. I had to let go. I had to stop blaming everybody else for my problems and for my hurt. I had to take my power and say, you know what, Source, Creator, atoms, I'm here. I'm one. I'm powerful. I'm amazing. I am. And from there, I had to believe it every day. And as I went through from 31 to 39, it was every year was a building block. And so when you see me today, I seem as if I have shit together, but I'm still the student. I'm still building. I'm still learning. Chop wood, carry water. I have more knowledge. I have more insight, but chop wood, carry water. I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing just because I'm enlightened or I know some stuff. I'm still going to always question myself, always question my thoughts, and I'm always going to acknowledge my feelings and be honest with myself. If you can't be honest with yourself, then go back to step one, perception, period. But with that said, we only have a couple of more minutes. Wookie says, let me go back down. Where Wookie at? Wookie says, is there such a thing as healing too much? Word. I find that focusing on healing so much, I feel like I'm continually giving my energy to those past thoughts and healing that I find challenging to move on or let go. Now, but that's actually the loop. That's the ego, my brother. Wookie. I think it's Wokey. But that's ego loop. And that's kind of what this is about. When you get caught in the loop, you get caught in the cycles of always wanting to heal, because the ego needs to always try to figure things out and analyze stuff. But the moment you let go, the moment you forgive, the moment you surrender to, honestly, yourself, and when you surrender to yourself, you're ultimately surrendering to God or source. I don't like saying God, but I like saying source or the universe. Why? Because when you surrender to yourself, you're telling every single atom in your body to connect with every single atom in the universe. That makes sense? And so if you're caught in this loop, that means you're only here. You're not here. You got to move into your heart. You cannot think your way into healing. You have to forgive your way into healing. And forgiveness starts with forgiving yourself. Don't think that you can forgive somebody and then not forgive yourself. You cannot. You have to always start inner. Forgive yourself for the thoughts you had. Forgive yourself for the people that you possibly hurt from those thoughts. Forgive yourself for feeling that you're not good enough. Forgive yourself for thinking that you're not a part of God. Because these concepts play a really big role in our psyche. For you to think that I'm outside of God because I'm a human and I'm in this body, that's the biggest illusion ever. You are made from the same fucking construct, atoms, that the entire universe is built by. Yeshua, Jesus, said himself, have faith in the mustard seed. He said, have faith in your atom. The mustard seed at the time was the smallest atom, the smallest seed. So the only way he can depict that to you through atoms is saying have faith in the mustard seed, but he really said have faith in your atoms, period. Have faith in yourself, acknowledge yourself. You will be healed. You will be healed. But with that said, you cannot think your way into healing. This just punched me in the chest hard. Seriously, you can't. But we try to. You got to let go. It's feelings that get you to heal, not thinking. Thinking is the ego. If you think with your heart, which you can, you think differently. You think in a process of I am versus what am I? See what I'm saying? Big difference. With that said, this has been a pleasure, guys. We definitely have to. Oh, Wookie. I'm sorry. Wookie is a woman. I just got corrected by my mans. My bad, Wookie. Much apologies. I'm glad that women are in here. This is a beautiful thing. And I hope your husbands or your men or your brothers are in here too. But with that said, we do have to get going. For all of you men who are out there who want to know more, Mastermind Connect is where you can see what we're doing as a men's collective. We are all over the place with where we are in this place. I mean, in this part in time, in this day and time. You know, normally we were all based in New York, but we're still keeping the collective because right now we know that this is another way that we can all reach each other. So we have an online platform. We have an online app that if you join the collective, you will have support from your brothers. You will have support from men of color that look and understand you. So by all means, come join us. We are here to not only support the brotherhood, but we're here to really redefine what manhood looks like. And for me, my name is Omar Davis. I'm just so grateful to not only be with you guys, I'm grateful to even have the thought of putting together Holy Men. so that we can understand that using the left and the right side of our brain, we can be a whole man instead of thinking that we're only logic and don't have emotion. With that said, I just want to let you guys know we were going to bust out the workshop next week, but honestly, everybody has been so busy. We just kind of push things back. So we will let you know. I wanted to be transparent with you guys so that you're not expecting a workshop next week, but we will continue with the session and with the series next week. So join us next Wednesday. We will have people on, but I really enjoyed this because I really was able to get through the topics and able to have a conversation with you guys in the feed. Forgiveness for self is key, as Andrea stated. I will end on that note once again. Thank you very much, all. Let's just take this moment because we've had some victors and some very unfortunate news in the past day. So for all of us who are fulfilled in our broken system, fulfilling conviction of people who try to oppose us and try to suppress us, yes. But for that same system, for putting people on the job who senselessly shoot teenagers in the chest for no reason, let's just pray for our world. Let's just have a moment that we just pray for their families. And let's just have a moment that we pray for our families. And when I mean prayer, I mean just focus on them and send love. Not, oh, help them, God, because no, just send love. And with that, we say Ashe. We bless the world. We bless our community. And we bless ourselves. You guys are amazing. Thank you for being here with me. This is always a pleasure for me for many reasons. But I'm so glad to see that we had a lot of women in here saying some amazing things. We had a lot of men in here saying some amazing things. For the next time, love you all. Mastermind Connect, we out.